they're trying to figure out what's going on, and these men say, "Why are you here looking for the dead, looking for the living among the dead?" Okay, you missed it. They were clueless about where Jesus was. But Jesus knew they would be clueless, so Jesus already prepared someone to give them the answers that they needed to give them the affirmation they were searching for. See, here's the thing. God is so much God that God already knows what's going to confuse you, and God then prepares the answer to your confusion so you don't have to seek it from the wrong places. The question is, will you pay attention to the answer God sends? Because sometimes you miss the answer God is sending trying to discover it on your own. And God says, "No, I got you. Do you trust me enough?" But we already know, right? They didn't trust him enough to believe what he said. They didn't trust him enough to come prepared to meet him alive. He said, "Listen, you got to trust me." And that question is for all of you this morning. Do you really trust God? Right? You trust God and try to make amends with stuff that happens, but do you trust God to keep you while it's getting better? Do you trust God to heal you while you're going through? Some of us only trust God for the first part. So we trust God to end the relationship, but we don't trust God to keep us and prepare us for what God has next for us. We trust God to pay that bill, but we don't trust God enough to invest and do what we need to make sure that we don't find ourselves in that financial hardship. Again, we trust God enough for the initial diagnosis, the initial surgery, but we don't trust God enough and God's plan for us enough to follow God's prescription to ensure we don't end up there again. I need to say this because it has to come out. And I had to tell this to my daughter yesterday. And so I believe this is a word for the house. God is canceling our poverty mind state and practices moving forward. God says, "Listen, you keep trusting me for a check in the mail. You keep trusting me to pay your light bill. You keep trusting me to keep your car from being repossessed. Why don't you trust my financial plan to help you establish wealth? Why am I just an emergency exit and not the main door?" Okay, that may not have resonated here. Maybe somebody watching online that'll speak. I'm done.